So, you've just bought This War of Mine, downloaded it, and you are unsure how to start in any way, shape or form. This video is for you. I'm going to go through the first of all of the scenarios and to show you how to kind of play this game, the basics, before you get into the more challenging parts of it when you get to the harder scenarios with the thicker winters and the raids and the outbreaks of crime and not running out of food and all this sort of stuff. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go for the absolute bare essentials to play this game, starting from the loading screen. So obviously you'll come up and you'll find you've got This War of Mine, Final Cut, and This War of Mine Stories if you have the stories installed. If you don't have stories installed, I do not believe you get this option. This is the DLC that gives you a few extra, more specific storylines to follow. I really recommend it, but if you are new to the game, we're just going to stick with the basic classic modes here. You may come to this one, you may get Final Cut, you may not have that installed. These are all additional things. There is also a Young Ones mod, Little Ones, which is the Children Additional. This will not be covered in this one, but I may do that in the next playthrough to give you a bit more of an idea of how it all goes. So what we're going to do is we are going to start by creating a method, a new scenario for everybody. So we have this opportunity here. We have Stories mode to jump to the stories. We have the Workshop Center, which we'll look at later on in this playthrough. And we also have got the another try, continue, or it may just say survive. Now, survive is what it will be for you when you first open up, and you just click on that. It's the same as clicking another try here. But this War of Mine has got a kind of... best way I can describe it is the Pokemon method of you're playing a game, that is your game. You can't like save multiple versions, you just overwrite your save. And that is one of the possible downsides, but it does force you to be focused on trying to survive. And it also has this Iron Man method, so you don't get to go back and load a previous save. So if you click on survive, or if I click on other try, you'll get a lot of these choices. So you'll see that some of these for me say survived, some of them say how long I survived as them, but this could be quite intimidating and you may not get all of these straight away. I'm going to start with this first one, Katja, Bruno, Pavel. You'll notice that there are lots of different names for different characters. I do have a tutorial on this channel already which goes through all of those, and you can easily find it. I believe it is just if you just search on YouTube you should find characters in This War of Mine tutorial. It should be there. You'll recognise it from kind of the thumbnails that I've been putting out. So but you again here have the opportunity to select whoever you would like to survive as, and you may start with only one, you may start with more. I cannot remember how it starts. You also have these boxes down here if you have got the later content, which includes false Final Cut content and the Anniversary Edition mode. These are just additional things and additional changes they made to the game so that we are able to look at it overall. We also have this random button. If I was to click this, it would just give us a completely random set of survivors and in a completely random setup of the war. These are all predetermined kind of how they set up. We're going to start with this Katja, Bruno, Pavel because they are the kind of the basics and the simple ones. So we're going to go this, which is our first one overall. If you are starting a game for the first ever time, you'll click on this and you'll be able to just go into that. Otherwise, you will have this opportunity. It will say you'll lose your current progress. Are you sure? I'm going to say yes. We're going to jump straight in. In this, we're just going to go for the first day and the first night, and then we'll carry on in the next episode where we'll go into a bit more detail into some of the other things that you can do in the game. Today we're going to be focusing on the first things and the absolute basics. Cool, so we've got these three. We've got a little blurb here about how they are doing. It's all about how the Civil War has broken out. People thought it wouldn't last very long. Civilization is being trapped inside the city and they are suffering from hunger, disease and shelling. Most of the things that you're going to have to deal with are in those three, apart from you also have to deal with raids in this game, which we'll get onto at the end of this video. Katja met Pavel and Bruno before the war. She used to be a reporter. Bruno had his own television cooking show, and Pavel was the star of the local football team. Katja even interviewed him once. Now they meet in dramatically different circumstances looking for food and shelter. So, immediately upon clicking out of this, you get put in this situation with a building, which you can see here, and you've got your characters walking around. You can click and select each of them by clicking on them, or you can select down here, click on each of these guys, and then you can kind of make them walk around, and if you right click, you can run around. So these are just the basic movements. You can do this with any of them. You'll notice that each of our three characters, as I was clicking through them, have got a different slight name. Well, they have their name, and then they also have their ability underneath. So Katja has bargaining skills, which means that she is able to trade for better deals than everybody else. We've got Bruno, who's a good cook, who means he can use less resources in order to cook things. And then you've got Pavel, who's a fast runner, and therefore he is able to kind of do a few... get around places a lot quicker. He's useful at night in order to get around locations in order to scavenge. So for now though, we're not at the night. We'll go through the night when we get there. We're going to look at the daytime. So you'll see you're confronted with like lots and lots of buttons all over the place. So what you can do is you can see that there are these piles of rubble that you can click on. We've got those are kind of take a long time to go through. So if I set Pavel and just click on this button, you'll see that he starts to dig through it. Now there is a quicker way to do with that, which we will be getting to in a second. Katja is able to just go and walk around, but you see these hands around here. A lot of these hands are scavengeable locations, so if I was to run up to one, I would be able to gather the materials that are there. So, for example, we're going to go into here, and we're going to go grab what we can. Good. So, we've got some herbs here. These can be used to make herbal medicine or roll up cigarettes. That's good to have. We've got components. Now, components are vital. These are things that everything is built of. Most of the recipes in this game for lots of workbenches, lots of additional things are going to be component-based and wood-based. You see wood is also there. So if we grab all of this wood, if you right-click, you take a larger amount. If you left-click, you only take one. So here's wood. It's essential for everything else. Finally, in this little selection, we have got water. We've got these two clean water, which we can grab. There is a way of making this in other things, but we'll get to all of those in a bit. And we will be able to also get sugar. Now, sugar is used for moonshine. Now, I don't actually have to take this right now, but if I don't take it, I won't be able to use it in anything else right now. I'm debating leaving it in here because that means that it is safe. Everything that you have taken from these piles appears in your things. Now, our things kind of have a good rundown of like what we've collected up to this point, and you can kind of click on each of them and see how they are. We also have some thoughts on about our shelter, and this gives you a good idea about how your survivors are doing. So you've got the fact that here it says, our shelter is one depressingly ugly ruin. We should do something about it. That is our task in this entire game. We only have one chair, we lack beds, and we have to sleep on the floor. It's hard to get a good night's sleep on hard, cold concrete, and the condition of those who are sick or wounded may drastically worsen. We don't have a radio, we don't know what's going on in the city, we miss books. Book could help us forget the horrors of war. Staying here is slightly better than staying on the streets. We lack coffee and cigarettes. We have breaches in the wall. Our shelter is not safe, and we have to constantly be on guard. So you see that there's a lot of bad things right there, and our task is to kind of fix all of these as we go. So we're going to just now go a bit quicker because we do have a time limit at the top here, as you can see. At the top there, we do have the day, we have the time, and we have the temperature. All of these are very useful things to notice. You'll see here we've got a few more things. We've got more herbs. This is a lockpick, which will come in useful actually during the day as well as at night. We'll get to the night again later, as I said. I'm going to leave the sugar here, but these are other additional parts that are useful for a lot of building. You find electronic parts, and you find parts in terms of mechanical parts. I'm going to leave the sugar there for now, and we are going to focus on everything else. You'll notice that a few locations, a few a few of these icons around the map that I was looking at have suddenly changed because I've picked up a lockpick. As you can see, here is the same things. There's some parts, there's some water, some electronic parts. I'm going to leave the sugar. So, for example, up here, we've just picked up a lockpick, and this was a locked door. So there are two ways of getting through a locked door. You can use a lockpick like the one I just found, or you can use a crowbar, which we will need to be able to make or find while out scavenging. So that is our target. At the moment, I'm going to use this. Now, Bruno is going to be looking around at what else he can do. Okay, here we are able to go upstairs and have a quick look at this next icon. While in the meantime, Katja, I'm going to get you to go and do that. So, Bruno, you'll see sometimes that we come across these kind of boarded up doors. If you click on this from the correct side, you'll see that you're able to just pull these off. Now, these will appear at night time as well. They are relatively easy to get around, but it's just you have to be on the right side. If I'd gone from this side, it wouldn't have worked. This opens up these areas, and it does a lot of good things here. As you can see, eventually, we are able to get through these piles of rubble. We're good grabbing here. We've got some more parts, some more components, water, and wood. Lots of wood. Very nice. So now, Pavel, you can now get outside because we've got through this space. We can go into the garden and also grab the stuff that's there, which is very good. Very, very nice. What have you got here? So this is important. 1 second. We're going to do this. We'll take these. We'll take this, and we'll take this. But this is what we call raw food. Now, this is a vital thing to be having in your game because obviously your people need to eat in order to survive this war. Raw food on its own is not going to be very filling for your people. So we are going to be able to just, we'll take hold of it, but we're not going to use it straight away. In order to make it worthwhile for your people, you're going to need to cook it. I can take all of this stuff. It's all stuff that we've seen before. And you, Pavel, can go upstairs and do this. So the next thing I want to talk about is I've talked about a crowbar and a faster way of getting through the rubble. So this is something that is kind of important to think about, and it's one of the things you can often do. I will take that on day 1. So let us go and have a look down here. While I quickly run down to this level, you can see in the middle here that we have got our kitchen, which has both a medicine cabinet and our fridge. The raw food that we collected went straight into the fridge, and we were able to kind of see how much we've got there straight away. We don't have any medicine yet, but this is where they'll appear. You'll see some herbal meds at the top here, which aren't particularly strong meds. We've got a bandage here, and we've got some meds here. So what we're going to do is we are going to now hopefully grab all of this stuff and make these a bit more full. But Bruno, you're down here, and the reason we're down here is we're going to go into our workbench. So you see this icon here? We have the opportunity to go into the workbench, and we also have the opportunity to upgrade the workbench. So we're not going to go and upgrade it just yet. We're going to just go here, and we get options of all of these things that we can build. So we'll quickly just run through these, but we're not going to go through and build them all straight away. We've got a bed, which is where you can sleep at night, which is very, very useful. We can make a chair as well. We've already got one. We could make another one. We make a simple heater, which is useful if we get in periods where it gets very cold. We can also make a radio, which gives us some information and can improve your mood by having some music. You have a crude stove, which is very useful to have. You've got a moonshine still, which we could use the sugar that we've been leaving around to make some booze, which we could then trade. And we could also drink it ourselves. We've got this metal workshop, which is the thing we're going to build in a second. We've got a rainwater collector, which is how we can get more renewable forms of water. Then we have some filters. Now, this filter is used for both purifying rainwater and distilling alcohol, so it's a particularly useful item to get a lot of. They take components, as you can see. Most of the stuff takes components. Some of them require parts. And then down here we have fuel. So fuel can be made from components and it can be made from wood, but it's important to balance what you need it for, because cooking will need fuel, alcohol will need fuel, and what's other need fuel? Oh, our heater will need fuel. So the first thing we're going to look at in more detail here is the metal workshop. So if I'm just going to build that, I like to build it very close to our regular workshop, and we just go over here and we start to build, which is exactly what we're after. I'm going to wait before I start to go through and unlock one of these, for example. We've got a few areas that do have lockpicks in that we could actually go and unlock straight away. But we've decided against doing that for now, because once this is built, we're going to get a tool that is very useful. You should stay up there though, Catcher. And we will see what's going on as we move forward. Very, very nice. That's good. Very, very good. So now we get another thing here. So to separate this from your regular workshop, it's got this kind of vice that is very useful to see what's different. You also have an upgrade button, but we can't do that just yet. We're going to focus on what we can build. So this gives us the opportunity to make a few tools that are going to help us throughout this game and how it's going to kind of progress. We've got a crowbar, we've got a lockpick, and we've got a shovel. We could make some more lockpicks ourselves. However, crowbars are able to do the job of lockpicks multiple times, but the only downside is they are very loud. During the day, this is absolutely not a problem, but during night, that does become a problem. So we're going to make one of these, and we can click make. The other thing that was there was a knife, and a knife is a useful weapon that you can have, but it isn't very useful in the daytime, which is why we are not prioritizing it. Weapons are an interesting one, and the entire combat system is quite strange as well. So that is something that we will get onto in this series, but we're going to just focus our entire efforts on kind of the first day and the first night here. That is just going to be kind of how we are going with this. Very good. So we've now built this, and you can see that all of these locations that have got lockpicks have now got the opportunity to be smashed open with a crowbar as well. So that gives us the opportunity. The other thing we want to make here is we want to make the shovel, sorry. I'd already made a crowbar, my brain's just gone a bit farty today. So there's also the shovel here, which we want to make, because this is good for picking through rubble. See the knife here? We can also make a knife, but we do need these things here. These are weapon parts. Now, there may be a few around the house, but you are more likely to find it out and about. So if we go here, we can now build a shovel straight away, and then that should help us get through things a lot quicker. As we start to use it here, you'll notice it's disappeared from everywhere else. That's just because it's in use, and therefore, once he's finished, it'll come up and Catcher can use it. There's no kind of like waiting for it to move anywhere, so we can do that. As soon as it's unlocked, he'll go and open it, And we can see in here, we've got some lovely resources. So we've got some books, which I'll grab to keep us a bit more uplifted. And we've also got some bandages. So if any of our people get wounded, then we'll be able to deal with that there. So now Catcher is able to smash into this. And then we're able to kind of move a bit further on. As you can see, we do have a very a difficult amount of time to do a lot of this stuff in. Normally, if I was not explaining everything, we'd have just gone a lot quicker with this all. Here we go, so more food, we've got some more herbs, and we've got another book. I'm going to leave the sugar there. I like leaving the sugar out and about. And we're about to run out of time, though, because at 8 o'clock, you will just go into the night time, and we will see how it all goes. However, because we have the shovel, we were able to get through this pile of rubble really quickly. So now we're going to go into the night time, and then that will be the end of this episode. We're just going to show you how the night time works. It immediately goes to it. There is the option up there you could have seen to click end night, end day, sorry, and then you come to this screen, which is the nighttime screen. But I'm going to just say that once you run out of time, often in the first few days you are doing as much as you can, so they will run out of time. You are in a situation where you are needing to kind of keep moving. So now you can see here, we have opportunities here for people to scavenge, to guard, or to sleep. Now, you'll see that there's also an option to sleep in a bed. And these are all greyed out because we didn't build a bed in the first night. So that is something that we need to be thinking about for day 2. If I was to show you, I'm going to show you what each one of these does by setting them all off on the same time. We're going to send off Pavel to scavenge, which is a useful thing to go and gather resources tonight. We're going to leave Bruno on guard because, actually no, we're not. We're going to let Bruno sleep. And the reason we're going to let Bruno sleep is he has started with a condition. So now these conditions down here, they come as slightly sick. Then there are some other ones which are to do with woundedness, and there are some others to do with hunger and with happiness and with tiredness. And so you'll see these appear a bit more. On day 1, you just get given one, kind of often on one of your characters. So he's slightly sick. So I'm going to let him sleep as a chance to increase that, although not sleeping in a bed is probably not particularly good. The final one is guard. So now it is very possible that we are going to get attacked at night. So we're going out scavenging other areas. It's very possible that other people are going to come and scavenge and try and take our things. So what we're going to do is we are going to say that we're going to leave Catcher on guard in case anyone comes, we can scare them off. So now we have chosen somebody to scavenge. We do have to choose a location for them to go. So these will gradually appear as we go throughout the game. And we're going to start with some very relatively safe ones starting off. We've got the ruined villa and the ghost house. These are really close, and you can start to see a bit of information about them up here. So up here you'll see it says, Ghost House. A man who lived there used to give shelter to people in need. He either died or fled his home after it had been ravaged by mortar fire. Since then the house stands abandoned and the neighbourhood kids say it's haunted. We've got the ruined villa, which has a little bit about it, saying that there is a lot of stuff. They say some people still live there, but they must have some supplies stocked. If we are desperate, we could try and steal from them or trade. And the semi-detached house says that there are people in there who don't seem friendly. You can sometimes hear shots fired. We could scavenge from the non-inhabited part, but we'd have to get past the inhabited part. So all of these little things are interesting areas, and you can find a little bit about what's there underneath. So the ghost house, which is probably where we're going to go night 1, has some food, huge amounts of materials, lots of meds, huge amounts of weapons, and lots of parts. Great section of things. Again, down here, we've got another similar thing here. Ruined Villa has got a lot of this stuff. Doesn't say that there's any danger, so these people are unlikely to want to attack us outright, unless we actively provoke them. Often that is the case, that these people, if there are NPCs there, they will not attack you unless you kind of go past them, or infiltrate their areas, or try to attack them. Semi-detached house, however, has got the danger marking, which means that it's likely that if you get there and you are seen by anyone, you will be attacked. We're not going to deal with that today. We're going to go to this ghost house and we're going to prepare. Now you come to this screen. Each character has their own kind of designated backpack with the amount of space and the amount of things that they can carry. Pavel has 12. The averages are kind of 10 and 12. There are some who have less. There are some who have more. But the main thing we're going to be wanting to focus on is the fact that we are going to need tools when we get to these places in order to get through places. So what we are going to take with us, we're going to take the crowbar and we're going to take the shovel. Given that we don't think there's any danger here, we are able to go without any of the lockpicks in order to be stealthy, and we won't need a weapon straight away. So therefore we are able to head off, and we are able to go and scavenge. Then it will load up the location, and it will be a bit like just another house with a lot of those hand signals that we can see which is available to scavenge. So I'm going to immediately go and look through here, which is very good. Now, it's important to know at night, I'm going to grab some of these components because we're going to want to build some few things tomorrow, which is good. But you can see these red circles. This implies that there is some noise coming from there. So now we need to be a little bit wary whether or not we are going to be able to survive here, or, well, not survive, or deal with the fact that there could be people here. Here's another one of those broken doors, so I'm going to focus on that. And as you can see, there seems to be very little noise coming from Pavel at the moment. That is important. However, if Pavel was about to start running around, you can see at his around him this radius appears, and this is kind of all to do with noise. And so this is who can hear the area in which people could hear him if they were within that range, and they could therefore react. Therefore, Pavel is very good for getting around locations, but because his main thing is running, you can end up in situations where things are problematic. Because he gets caught because he's so noisy. Now, you'll notice I picked up this, which is a bullet, or ammunition. So eventually in the game you can also get guns on ranged weapons, so these are going to be very useful at that time. I'm quickly going to go back, and did I leave one up there or something, because I thought I saw one. But we're going to go down into this basement as well, and we're going to see what's down here. Now you'll see we've got a hand here, so let's quickly go and look at this. Good. Oh, there's some very good selections of parts here. We're going to take some of, if I drop some of this, so in order to drop things when you're out and about, you can then do this, and we can right click to drop like 10 of the thing, or you can just left click to drop one of them. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take the parts and the electronic parts, because they're a bit more rare than wood and components. You can also see here that we have different types of cigarette, roll-up, and then quality. We also have some shell casings, and this can be used to eventually make ammunition for guns. This other side, we've got these bars, and there is a grate, but I can cut through it with my saw blade. That's kind of, yeah, that was a little bit of a broken dialogue. You need a saw blade to get through, which is another kind of tool. I think I did quickly look in here, didn't I? Which is nice. Let's go through there and have a look. Yep, we did. Good. So now I want to head back upstairs. So I'm going to head and have a look around the rest of this location. Good, good, good. There are many tactics to doing with like long time things. I will say, when you're dealing with it, you can start to look through this eye hole, and that means you're looking through the kind of keyhole of these doors to see what's on the other side. And what we're doing there is we've managed to notice that this noise here was a rat. It wasn't a person. Sometimes they like to throw that in order to confuse you. So I'll walk through here, and then we have opened up into what looks like a kitchen. Often, the best places in these locations that you're scavenging are kind of signposted by things like fridges, like medicine cabinets, because that makes it obvious where you're going to be going for. And as you can see here, there is a lot of stuff. I'm going to drop a few of our components, and we're going to take a lot of water, and we're also going to take a lot of food. So you can see we've got 4 raw food here, so I'm going to do this, and we're going to take that there. There's also possible vegetables. So vegetables are good for creating larger amounts of food later on, because then you can put meat and veg together to make a larger meal for more people. There's also a lot of sugar here, so we'll come back here if we ever try to use sugar, but water is also very, very useful, so I'm going to grab hold of that. Now I'll quickly just explore the rest of this area that I can get to, because obviously the saw blade downstairs meant that we were in a bit of a sticky situation there. We've now got a lockpick and a crowbar lock that we can get through, and a boarded up door. If I was to look through here, you'll see that there is just another rat in here, which is, yep, so we can therefore easily pull through this, and we can see what's on the other side, which is very, very good. We can pull through here, and then we get to see another scavenging location, so let's have a quick look in here. Good, so as you can see, there are a few things that I'm grabbing because they stack up to a certain amount. Most things can stack up to 4. Some things can stack up to 10, so this, and I believe ammo can stack up to 20. We're getting some components here. We have 4 can stack in 4s. Food can stack in 4s. Most tools can only stack in 1s. Wood can only stack in 2s. But some of the other stuff here, there is some coffee. Now, coffee is a useful thing to have for happiness. Some people can be seen as addicted to coffee, and therefore they do need it in order to kind of be happy. We also have fertilizer here that can be used for small traps or for growing things. That's a much later thing in the game. We'll come back to that when we have time. We also have broken toys. Now, as I said, there is a mod in this game for the little ones. It's not a mod, it's a DLC. It's an official DLC. So these could come in handy if we do end up with a child arriving. I don't think we will in this playthrough. I will do another playthrough where we have a child and we have to go through that. But we will be able to push on through here, and we will be able to see how it goes with the materials that we have. We also have these magnifying glasses. Now this implies that there is more to be looked at in this kind of area. So if I was to go and have a look at this now, you can see it's a letter. Dear Subria, just when I managed to reach this country we thought to be safe, it was plunged into war too. Don't worry though, I'm fine. I write this letter waiting for a man who can smuggle me to safety in his boat. I will then apply for asylum. As soon as I get it, I'll bring you here and we'll be together again, away from war and misery. Hang on and pray for me, Kofi. This gives you a little bit of information about the world and about the people who live here. It's a nice little addition, and it does give you a bit of texture and a bit of understanding of what war would actually be like. I'm now going to just quickly break through here because, as I said, during the day you've got a time limit. During the night you also have a time limit. So if I was to go through here, we can then open this door and it reveals this final location. Good. We can now go through here and we can look under the bed. Normally under the bed is quite a useful location. There are some meds here. I think instead of taking some wood, I'm going to take the meds. So these are the herbal meds like I showed you. There was a greyed out picture near in the kitchen in the medicine cabinet or at home. This is just useful for getting people from slightly sick to regular, and we do currently have someone who is slightly sick, so we're going to deal with that. And then we'll finally look through this final location here, and we can see that there are a few extra things. So there are some more components, which is good. We have some weapon parts, so I am going to actually grab these weapon parts because they're a little bit more rare than the other stuff I'm finding. There is also some gunpowder. Now this is the other half with the shell casings that we saw earlier that are used to make bullets. Those require a very upgraded metal workshop though, so we'll be able to see there. We also have jewellery. Now jewellery is only used for bartering really, and it is useful to gather quite a bit of it because there is also the boat that they mentioned will be used, and that's the way of kind of paying for that if you manage to go down that route. So I'm going to leave it there for now, knowing that it's going to be here, and right at the end of the night you have this opportunity to run to the exit. Unlike during the day, where if you just click the end day it will just kind of go to the end, in the night time you have to click run to the exit because you do actually have to get back to this symbol by the end of the night, otherwise you get caught here and there is a chance you won't come back, or you'll come back wounded, or you'll come back in a bad situation. So it's make sure you get back to this signal by the end of the night. But I am going to leave it there for today. I hope this has been informative for somebody who has just started a new game in this War of Mine, and I hope that you are willing to stick with me as we go through this entire playthrough, learning and developing our methods and how it all kind of works and how we move on from there. Thank you very much for watching. If it has helped, please do like, subscribe and follow this channel, and I will see you next time when we will go into the next stage of how to build up your shelter and to make it a bit more kind of homely for your people. See you then. Ta-ra.